Hello, everyone. I'm waiting for it to connect. I look really close, but I'm not really that close, which is funny. Hello, hello. Let me see if I can edit this. Title Heart Chakra Work. And we're going to talk about the month of March. So, did I do that right? It looks so weird from my computer versus my phone app, and I'm hoping that I can download this later. So first I need to, after I'm done setting this up, it says save post, save post. Okay, save post. Yeah. So I want to apologize because I know that I had, sorry, I hate when my hair goes there, an agreement with you guys earlier this morning that I was going to be on here at 10 o'clock or 10:30. And some days are just, when you are pregnant, some days are just worse than other days. And if I don't sleep the night before, then I am a beautiful mess in the morning. So I wanted to make sure that you have me full attention and that I am able to do my best. So my apologies for being so sick this morning, but you definitely didn't want to see me. I had to go back to bed. I was like, you know what, this isn't working for me, so I went back to bed. And then we just redo it again. So thank you and welcome. Thank you for being here today with me as I did a pop one. It's from my computer again, and I don't use my computer often. So I'm still learning the logistics of how to unroll this and unravel this. But please make sure to leave a comment, and I think I can see them over in the left spot. Amber Pool is now live in the Crystal Reiki Center. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to get started because if you know me, I have a lot to say, and we are working on our heart chakras today. So, heart chakra, and that's exactly where I am for this month. The heart chakra is one of my favorite heart chakras, but why am I working on it? One, you may know that I read energy. And as I go into your field, as I go into your chakras, I can see if they're balanced or if they're imbalanced. And there's many reasons why these chakras are imbalanced. So it's not enough just to say, oh, a chakra is imbalanced. I need to get to the root of the chakra. What's so interesting is before, when we were doing just Reiki, I say just Reiki, but when Reiki was first coming out, you channeled the light. And when you channeled the light, we didn't go into deep stuff. We didn't go into the emotional reasons of why there's blockages or stagnant energy. We didn't go into curses or, spirits and entities. It just was. So we would channel the light through, and first of all, anytime you channel Reiki, it lifts your vibration up, which is incredible. That's what you need. We lift up the vibration, and it also opens up your chakras. So I am all for channeling Reiki, but now we're in a deeper level. Oh, hi, Joanna and Brenda. Hello, hello. We're at a very deep level where we're trying to understand ourselves more, and we're trying to get into this higher consciousness, and we're trying to evolve and do different things. So that's why the channeling the Reiki and understanding why the heart chakra is imbalanced. Where did this come from? Hi, Jamie. Where did it come from, and how did this come to be? So that's what today is about, working on the heart chakra. So the heart chakra is the bridge. And you would think, why didn't I start with the root chakra, which is your first chakra? But the lower three chakras are all about your physical relationship here in this physical world on earth. And then your upper chakras are all about your spiritual. And so the heart is the bridge. And you'll find out more in a second. So physically, right, we have 4 areas around us. Around your heart, we're going to look at what's going on there physically. It's going on there emotionally. What's going on there mentally, and what's going on there spiritually. So even though you are in a chakra and it says, oh, I'm imbalanced, well, where is the imbalance coming from? Now, in this period, day, and age, and it's been coming for a very long time, we've had the most imbalances in our emotional field. So, we're going to talk about the emotional field and the heart today. Physically, when you're talking about the heart chakra, it's about your physical heart, your circulatory system, your ribs, your breasts, your lungs, your shoulders, your arms, and your hands. So, it's attached all through. What? That is your heart chakra. And if you have any issues within the heart, within the lungs, if you have breast cancer, you really want to pay attention to your heart chakra because there, again, is an underlining message or something that you can learn to grow, okay? So that's why it's so important. The message, as Carolyn Meese, if you do not know her, I have a bunch of references at the end of this that I'm going to share with you. But Carolyn Meese is fantastic. And she wrote a book called The Anatomy of Spirit. The Anatomy of Spirit. And she says that the heart chakra is let go and let God. And what does that mean? Let go and let God. If you think about your heart again, it is the bridge between the spiritual and into the physical. And everything I teach, and especially from in a shamanism practice or perspective, we are taught that 50% is us. 50% is our willpower to move things, to manifest, to co create, and the other 50% is the divine. So let go and let God, right? So it's in between of manifestations. You can't hold on to everything. You cannot manifest everything by yourself. If you are not calling in spirit and saying, hey, I need some help, I would like to see this happen, let these manifestations unroll, then you're not working your 50-50. You're going to be working your 70-30. You're going to be working over. But we need to stay at the 50-50. That's our big challenge, 50-50. So let go and let God. You make a request for what you want out of your heart chakra because it's a deep desire in your heart. And then you work with God. You co-create with God. So the challenge, I missed a line. When fully open, we have to love and to act consciously in compassion. And that's where we are heading to now. So everybody's like, what is our next step and what is this evolution process going to look like? It's really scary. This is the time when we need to be in our hearts. So act consciously, right? Not reactive, acting consciously through our heart's desires. So challenge. Our solar plexus, which is below our heart chakra, focuses on feelings about ourselves in relation to our physical world. Okay, so relation to our physical world. Now, your heart focuses on your internal world. I'm going to pause there for a second. Your heart focuses on your internal world. So, all that jazz that you say about yourself, of why things aren't working out, or how could this be, or he doesn't love me, and where do I go? And that's all in the heart chakra. It's very internalized as well. So you want to start to pay attention to your emotional responses, to your own thoughts of what's coming through, your ideas, your attitudes and inspirations, and what attention do you give to your own needs? So your self-love. What attention do you give to yourself about taking care of yourself? A lot of times, I will be honest, when I'm in session, I see people with these big, wide, overactive heart chakras. And it tells me right off the bat that they are a giver. So instead of taking care of themselves, they give out so much energy to take care of everybody else around them. But what this does, it creates energy leaks. And then there's also not feeling fulfilled or not feeling whole. One, because they released all this energy to everybody else, but two, because they're not taking care of themselves. So that's the internal process. The heart is the internal process of taking care of ourselves. Now, this isn't a statement, right, that I'm about to say. However, there is a lot of connection with breast cancer and givers not taking care of the self. So Carolyn Meese, again, look her up. She, oh my goodness, I'm losing my train of thought here, but she is a medical intuitive. And she was one of the people who has made the connection between the breast and the heart chakra and given out your energy to other people and not given energy to yourself. And if there's another book that she wrote, it's called The Creation of Health. So if you really like to know what kind of physical ailments go with, the emotional ailments that are there, look up The Creation of Health by Carolyn Meese. So you need to be paying attention to your internal world. And as children, we freely feel and love. Did you ever notice that? Like your children, my children, that's what they do all the time. They're just open. They're just this beautiful beam of light that comes towards you. They have their heart chakras wide open. And then they start getting these, I call templates, belief systems that they are. The environment starts to change them. And we start to question ourselves, question who we are, question our intuitive insights, questioning our thoughts, questioning our beliefs. Where did they come from? So we want to have this remainder of the heart being wide open and an expression of love. Now, in the heart, there's many, they're called informational banks. So even though I see that a chakra is imbalanced, again, you're going to go back. Is that in the emotional field? Is that in the physical? Is that in the spiritual? Is that in the mental? And then we also look for these blocks or these things that are in there. And I'm just going to name a few. There are a lot of blocks. In each chakra, you have certain categories or certain information banks that you will find in each individualized thing. So vision is going to be in your third eye. It would not be in your heart chakra. Okay, so stay with me. The fears. Okay, so if your heart chakra is imbalanced, the fears of the heart chakra would be loneliness, commitment to follow your heart, your own heart. Fear protects oneself emotionally. Like if you can't do it, if you just rub it off and blow it over, somebody says something to you and you're like, that's okay, I'm not going to respond. I'm just going to push it to the side. Fear of betrayal or even closed doors. I can't make a step forward because I'm afraid of what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. Abandonment is here in the heart chakra. But there's also a lot of strengths. So when it's balanced, you will find love, forgiveness, compassion, trust, hope, and ability to heal the self and heal others. I find that the best practitioners, healers, are ones who have a very balanced heart and they're working with God and they're also working within themselves, right? They're not all conscious telling you what to do and saying, this is the best decision for you and this is how you should roll. It is better when a healer helps you find who you are, helps you on that path, helps you discover the things that you're trying to understand about yourself instead of calling the shots for you. So it's part of having an open heart chakra. So love is fuel for physical and the spiritual body. Every challenge we get is some way of an aspect of love. If you ever notice that you will have all of these challenges that come up and they're the same challenges over and over, it's usually, what does that learn? What does that teach us? How can we love ourselves more? How can we step into a space of compassion? How can we step into a space of empathy and understanding? Now, I work with a lot of clients, and I have clients on both sides of the spectrum. Clients who are overactive and they feel everybody's pain, everybody's emotions in the heart, and it literally hurts their heart. When I was a child, I was really connected to the environment, which obviously I still am, but I really passionately love the environment. So that when I would read something about animals or in the sea or whales or trash or whatever it may be, I felt personally affected by what the collective was doing together. Okay. And that was an over emotion of the heart. And as I got older, I started to shut down. I started to close all my doors. And I find this very common with people too. They have these walls, right? They're bridges that come up around you, around your heart. So when I'm scanning them, I literally bump into a wall. It's it's an energy field of a wall that comes up. And I say, "Oh, why did you build that?" You usually build it because you're protecting your heart. But your heart does not need protection. Your heart needs to let go and be love. Let go and be God, right? So there needs to find this balance in between having too much and having not enough for yourself. So if you find yourself on the overly emotional path, it's fine to feel emotions. It's good to feel emotions. Doesn't mean we have to play into our emotions. Sometimes we need to add on boundaries of what's good for us and what's not good for us. So my friend who took in a guy who's having really bad addictive problems right now, she just wants to help him. She's like, you know what? He is my world. I would do anything for him. What can I do? And she is putting out so much of her energy to help and assist him. And yet at the same time, he's not receiving it. So in her, I see her almost every week, right? She comes in, she's like, Amber, I need you to fix me. I need you to fix me. And it's not about fixing. It's about having that compassion, but also staying in your boundaries so that you're not being walked on, so that you're not, well, in her case, she's having money stolen and all this other good stuff. And you need to have the boundaries as well. So you have to navigate balance. And what's interesting, let me turn my page, is that that's the work for this month of March. All of March. I mean, I've been reading all of these astrology things, and we're going to talk about astrology, but it's actually the work of the heart this month. And I love that. Another aspect of the heart that is really important to work with is forgiveness. I know. I had this lady, maybe last week or a week before, and she said, there's no way I can forgive my friend who did this to me. I have so much anger against her. And I said, that's okay. But know that you are in your energy field. There's a huge, huge cord that does not look good at all that you want to, let go of, not because of her. You don't have to ask her for anything, but because it's hurting you. So even though this happened, I think it happened like 15, 20 years ago. 15, 20 years ago. She still holds on to it. And now it's starting to affect her physically. So forgiveness isn't just like letting people off the hook, right? Forgiveness is about forgiving yourself. But I find the interesting work about forgiveness is surrendering. It's just letting go and saying, you know what? I can't hold on to this grudge, this resentment anymore because it's affecting me more deeply than what happened. And I've held on to it for so long. So the interesting thing about forgiveness is that the more we have released and forgiven, the more space we have created for this month. I'm going to talk to you about this month for new gifts to manifest. So the more we have released and forgiven, the more space you will have create for something else to come in, something better to come in into that space. When we are giving Reiki, when we are healing, you are taking out a spot within or around the body that is congested or heavy, and you have to replace it. We replace it with the light. So this happens for your emotions as well. Anytime you move something, especially something that has been stagnant for so long, you want to add in the light so that it gives you more space to be who you are, be authentic, and go back to your heart. Your heart is about living in your true desires. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about, it's a lot about the heart, isn't it? There is a lot to learn and work with the heart, but it's the most, to me, it is the best chakra to work with, especially during and through this time that we're in, because it's about compassion. It's about empathy. It's about finding love for each other. And that's where we need to go right now. So, hi, Sherry. I just want to say hi. In the past, in astrology, we have been given numerous opportunities to reflect on past and set new intentions for the futures. Isn't that always what we did? We're like, oh my goodness, how many times do I have to release something so that I can set new? How many times do I have to go through and look at myself? I got so tired of doing it. I was like, man, what's wrong with me now? But we have been forced to change, shift perspectives, habits, and let go of expectations that we are attached to. So even if, let's say a partner's not working out, then you can release the partner and say, well, you know what? Without any attachments, I need to let go. Or a project or an idea that you had that's not working out. At some point, we have to let ourselves off the hook. And that means within our heart chakra. The best way to approach this is to drop any resistance you have to emotional vulnerability, to challenge the truth. A lot of people do not want to see the truth of a situation, trusting your intuition on a situation. So if a situation comes to surface with you, I love to look at it. I used to walk away and allow my shadow to help me, like escapism, and try to get through it. But now I'm like, no, you know what? I don't like the way that I feel right now, and I need to address it. I need to see what's underlining it. And all of that stuff is within your heart chakra. It's probably one of the most, it's the deepest yet the most connected chakra that there is. So when I'm looking at somebody's heart chakra, I want to make sure that they are connected in and using their 50-50. They're 50% here, and yet they're 50% helping with God. So for the month of March, my other note, the key is to stay in balance and to stay in balance in your own lane. That doesn't mean cross over to other people's lanes. That doesn't mean bring up judgment. Judgment has a lot to do with the heart as well. Heart going into throat chakra is judgment. But it's about finding balance. So what is balance? Balance is being and doing. Are you doing enough and being enough? Are you thinking about your projects, but are you putting them through to action as well? Are you receiving and also contributing? It has to be a 50-50. It cannot be anything more than 50-50. Just like your energy field of your heart, right? Connected in with your willpower and with source has to be 50-50. Acting and resting. Are you participating enough? Do you run errands all the time? Are you getting enough rest? You have to find the balance. Do you have balance between your acting and your resting? What about listening and expressing? This is a good one, especially today, because so many people are reactive all the time, reactive. And we have to listen, and I mean really listen, to what the other person is coming from. And when we do that, it gives us a second to pause and say, you know what? This is not where we're going. I can be in an argument with somebody and tell them to see my point of view over and over again, but they won't hear it because I'm not hearing them either. So by listening, you're giving a chance on both sides to work. The key items are to release unimportant energy around any kind of work that brings you down. So the things that aren't being fulfilled right now, like you go, oh, I have to go do this because that's what I have to do. Is it important? It's probably important, but in your heart, is it going to manifest the desires that you want to create? If it's not, and you can throw it, you need to chuck it, okay? And that's for relationships, that's for work, that's for the things that do not honor your heart right now. Declutter non-essential things from your plate. That whole entire list I was just talking about. Stay in your heart and give your emotions space. There are so many times that I told you I shut down as well. I've met many clients that have walls and bridges around their carts because your emotions are still running if you're paying attention to them or not. They're still there. They're in the background, still running, but us mentally, we can ignore them. We can have them come in and quickly dismiss them. And that's not the objective. The objective is to have them come in and hear them, give them a voice, see what they say. It doesn't mean that we have to take action. It means that we're giving space around how we feel. Maybe you can find a deeper belief around that. Why do you feel that way? What goes into all of that? So that's part of it. Tell the truth to yourself. Tell the truth to yourself. If something is not working out, why are you staying in it? Because that's not what your heart is asking you to do. If you are in a job, I have so many, oh my goodness, I was just talking to this guy yesterday. He's like, corporate is not for me. Why you do it? Because it pays my bills. What can we do to shift it? Where can we begin at? Because your heart is not going to be happy. You're not listening to your authentic self. Everybody has this beautiful story that they are made of. So when you came into this earth, this world over here, there's something that makes you shine. And I don't care what it is. Some people dance. Did you ever see like TikTok? Some people are incredible dancers and it makes them shine, even though they're not like, professionals, but it's fun and it lifts them up and it makes them shine. And that's what they do. Other people I see talk about nonsense all the time, or they do makeup. Oh my goodness, I love the makeup and the criminal justice cases. Like, who comes up with that stuff? Who does a makeup tutorial while watching a criminal justice case? But you know what? It makes them shine. They feel beautiful. And that's what your heart is trying to tell you to do. Release restriction. Release the things that are not allowing your heart to shine. So with all of that being said, because I just threw a lot at you, I invite you to find the support that you need for this month. I know that when I say the word surrender, I did not like it. Like, I made the word surrender at the beginning of the year. And of course, I'm working with the universe, God. And I said, that's really my word for this year. That sucks. Really? I don't want to surrender. Like, what are you going to do? Strip me down from everything? What? I don't like that. But it is what it is. It's a transformation. And in shamanism, that's exactly what you do. You transform, right? You let go. What happens, I don't want to let go because I'm so used to being me and I'm comfortable being me. But I keep hearing from spirit, it's time. Surrender. Let go. We need to move you forward. And I'm like, oh my goodness, where's my net? Do you have a plan? I need to see A plus B equals C before I can move forward. So I get it. I totally understand it. But I've been doing this work for a few months now. And it's the most liberating thing to be in your heart. It's the most liberating thing to go, okay, I'm going to say, who is Amber Poole? Let's release, let's strip it down. And if something new is coming into my awareness, bring it on. Bring it on. What do I need to work with? So I did a podcast. That's the other thing. The Crystal Reiki Center has a podcast on surrender and let go. I encourage you to read it or listen to it. You can't read it. I encourage you to listen to it. It can be found at Crystal Reiki Center Podcasts. I think it's on Spotify and that other iTunes thing. I am not a technology person, but I know how to talk into my phone. So I encourage you to go through there. And I also, in shamanism, we work with water. So I'm going to do another conversation over water, because connecting with water allows you to move through, allows you to flow. So in shamanism, we work with earth, air, fire, and water, and we make them our allies. And as Candy was saying the other day, when I asked everybody to pray for New Zealand because there's a tsunami coming their way, shamans talk to the water. When we can make the earth our allies instead of being against them or treating them badly with pollution or not caring about what the world is doing, and just, there was trash being thrown out a window when I was driving the other day. My heart just stopped. I was like, oh, you can't do that. You can't do that. Plant those flowers. Talk to the water. And Candy said, that's what the shamans here do. We talk to the water, and we've done it for centuries. And there is something so beautiful about that, because you are making the water your ally. You're not against it. Just like Native Americans go out and do rain dances and ask for the rain to come and bring them in. And water helps move emotion. Water can be stagnant, right? Like a puddle that's not moving. And if it's stagnant, is that you and your emotions? What can we do for the flow to come in? I love working with water, and there's a lot of psychic ways that we can work with water that I'm going to unveil to you later. But for now, I just want you to get acquainted. Well, how can water clear out your emotions? How can taking a bath, right? Detoxing, that's an easy one to do. All of these things will help open up your heart chakra so that you can be an expression of who you are, connect in with spirit, connect in with God, and do the 50-50 balance to find your authentic self and get done what you came here to do. I always say there's not enough time in the day. I'm like, man, how am I supposed to build an empire, and have all these big dreams? How can I push it through? And it's only with the help of spirit. Only with the help of spirit. The other thing that I encourage you, if you need some more support, is for the Crystal Manifestations Academy. And I did a program called Working with the Law of Letting Go. And it's a true thing. It's a law of releasing. And in that program, there is the law of releasing your thoughts, of judgments, of stories that we have about ourselves, that we have created about ourselves. There's more in there, but that's the top 3 things that I have on top of my head. And that was this month's workshop. So I encourage you to look at that as well. So really, when we have astrology coming in and what are the things that we need to work on this month, I encourage you to really open up your heart. Where are the barriers that are holding you back? What are the things that you're like, this isn't working out for me? Call it out. Take a piece of paper, write it down. My health is not working out for me. Am I a victim of that? Heck no. I'm on my doctor like anything. I'm like trying to resolve. Is it in eating? Is it in connecting with spirit? Name it. Write it down so that way you can find a resolution. I prefer to drum, and that's called journeying. That's how I talk to spirit. So here my mind is creating logic, right? I'm sick. I'm pregnant and I'm sick all the time. Like not a little bit, like all the freaking time. And with that, I have to connect in with spirit too. Show me the way. Show me what's good for me so that it's my authentic truth. I do it through journeying. So I get out my drum and I let it go until I can hit this space where I am just pure consciousness and talking with spirit. And then I retrieve the information that I need and we work together. We co-create together. And that's what expands my heart chakra. And I'm very honest about it. They call me out all the time and say, Amber, you're not doing this right, or you're not doing this. And I'm like, ugh, okay. I will give up the coffee. I will give this up. I will drink more water. But that's really what you're doing. You're building a relationship with spirit. So again, I go back to what Carolyn Me says at the beginning. Let go and let God. Let God help you and do the work to open and expand your heart chakra. Another book, and the last book that I want to introduce you to before I go, is it's called Big Freedom. And I can't remember who wrote it, but Big Freedom is about working with the elements. And in there, you will find out how to work with the element of emotion. And I really love her book. I go back to it as a reference all the time. I just can't remember her name at this moment. Can we call that pregnancy brain? Let's blame it on that. But anyhow, in there, there's beautiful ways in how to move your emotions and how to work with your heart chakra to allow flow to happen and to experience something that's better than what you can imagine before. So thank you for joining me today. I'm going to open up the floor. If you guys have any questions for me about the heart chakra, please let me know. I can see that you guys are here, and I just want to say thank you so much for joining me and for being here, because I've been wanting to share with you about the heart chakra since last week. I also want to tell you that I have my, oh my goodness. I'm telling you, it's pregnancy brain 100% of the way through. I see it in my hand. I have it raw. Hold on. Whew. The little dot is blue kyanite, but the big one, it's called the Christ consciousness. Oh my goodness, it starts with a K. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on it. It opens up your heart. I'm going to have to tell you guys in a little bit. It opens up your heart chakra. And I can't remember what the heck it is right now. Kunzite. Oh my goodness, there you go. Kunzite. So, pink kunzite. That is if you are trying to find this beautiful place within your heart chakra and to expand it and open it and find self love. That would be the kunzite. And it's also working with the Christ consciousness. So, I really like this one on those days that I need a lot of self love. Or I'm trying to get myself back together. You will see me working on this. This is my personal, kunzite. It comes in like a raw form too, but it's my personal one to say, hey, this is me working on me. And then the blue kyanite, which is above it, helps to align all of your chakras and clear your chakras. So if you can get those two crystals together and meditate, then you can create space as well, connecting in with the divine. Or you can use the shamanic practices as well, by drumming, whatever one, floats your boat. Some people don't like to drum. I do because it gives me something to do. And other people have a hard time just being quiet and listening to their thoughts. So if that's you, I encourage you to try drumming. Um, there are many CDs online on YouTube that you can go to for just put in shamanic drumming, 15 minutes, 10 minutes. Plug in your little earphones and just let it be. So that is what I wanted to say. I just realized that you guys are rating me and I didn't see a scroll button. Jamie says, the word I was given is trust. Isn't that awesome? Trust. It's part of your authentic self, right? And who you are and where you're going and what you're doing. Hi, Teresa. Nice to see you. So the last book is called Big Freedom. Hi, Chris Hoffman. Chris Hoffman, I love you. And thank you, Joanna. Big Freedom. So you can find it on Amazon under the Kindle. But again, she works with water and movement and emotions. And it's a very beautiful, like you get it. So, and Jamie says, yes, drumming is the best way to meditate for me. Yeah, some people find connecting in with source is better by just being quiet. Like I used to be quiet all the time. I would visualize myself sitting back, relaxing, and like going into the space where I'm receiving. So that was my big thing. I have to be in receiving mode. And then all of a sudden, all these impressions came. Now, my clairaudience is really good. But when I do drumming, my clairvoyance opens up really well. So it's really interesting. So I do, yes, I can write the books in the comments. I like to drum because I really like to see and I like to visualize and go down the different aspects. And it's funny because when you look back at the things, like I always got put into a canoe on a river. And the river, it wasn't like a river, it was probably like a big stream. Anyhow, it would take me down. It was very soothing and calming. And I overlooked that detail for so long. And I'm like, good, because I get bored sometimes. I'm like, why do you have to put me into the canoe again when I have to go somewhere? So I'm going into the canoe. But looking back and me working on my emotions right now, I wasn't in tune or in touch with my emotions. I never once walked into the water. The other image that I always had was like this big cave. So if you're thinking about like Hawaii, it was this waterfall that came down, big water, and then it was a big cave that went around the waterfall. And I would always go against the wall and try to get inside the cave. But I never like jumped in the water. And why wouldn't I jump in the water? Because jumping in the water is scary. Because once you jump in the water, it means that you have to acknowledge your emotions. So I really like drumming. I like shamanic journeying because there's so many metaphors that your spirit team gives you that if you don't write it down after your journey, you'll forget it or you'll not see the relationship to it. So I'm really big with working with fire, with working with earth, air. It's okay. It's not my favorite. I'll come around to it. But they're hitting me up on water right now, and that's probably because with the energies of the world and moving with the water. And so they're making me, I always say, go into the deep end. When you're in the shallow aspect of the water, right? When you're at the beach, you have your feet in the sand and you're not moving in, you're not going into the deep. Why? Because you would have to learn how to swim, because you would be taught something else. So we always stay back to keep us safe. So water teaches you just to move forward to the blue ocean. And then if you take it further, there's more things and beings in the water that can teach you too. So I'm loving working with water lately. All right, list books. Um, yeah, I will rate them. Two of them are Carolyn Meese's, The Creation of Health, The Anatomy of Spirit. Carolyn Meese, I think it's Myss. Pretty sure it is. And then the other one is Big Freedom. I don't know her name, but I just reread the book all the time. But it's red. It's like this big red cover, so you can't miss it. Big Freedom. And she talks about working with the elements too. So, thank you all for being here. All right, your takeaways from the heart chakra. Are you guys going to do the work? There's a lot of work to do in the heart chakra, isn't there? Especially, I watched, what did I watch the other day? The Oklahoma bomber. What's his name? Timothy McVeigh. And it was very, it's very interesting because I always come from like a very non-judgmental place, which is really hard to be at. Okay. It's hard to be at. But he said something in the middle out of all of this that I went, wait a minute. I didn't see that coming. So like here, there was a moment that he has empathy, that he has, he's like, what are we doing? Like, it's all against the government. It's not about anything else. And I was like, oh my goodness, he's trying to make his way through, right? He's trying to make his way through, but he's not allowing the emotions to come through. He's not allowing that aspect of the heart to come through. But he said something profound, and I went, what? He's like a huge criminal. He what he did was disastrous. How could he have a moment where he had empathy? Like, I've never heard such a thing. And it was eye-awakening for me, because me, who comes from this non-judgmental place, this interview, I wish you guys would have saw it. It was kind of like, yes, Heather Ash. Thank you, Sherry. It intrigued me to see his perspective, and that's always how I look at things, like to find other people's perspective. How did they get here? What kind of life did they live? What did they go through? What were the terms and conditions that they had? I'm really interested in psychology, and it blew me away. And I thought, well, what would happen if we all had our heart chakras open? What would happen if he, who had like a glimpse of empathy in there, or understanding. He was so logical with things all the time. What would happen if he opened up his heart, if other people open up their hearts, if they worked on themselves, and then we helped others and worked with others? So I think that's where we're heading. I can't remember what the interview, that was on, like, it was on A&E the other night. It was very interesting, very interesting. So Heather Ash also runs something else. I think she runs like women's circles or something. I don't know. I don't really follow her, but I like her book. So look up the Heather Ash, Big Freedom. And I don't think she talks about, and that was the other thing, when I was really interested in learning about the elements, just going to find, like, how do I work with them? Like, I kept hearing I had to work with water, and I'm like, how do I work with it? I'm getting so tired of it. What am I supposed to do? Go with the flow. But when you start actually working with water, it's pretty intense and pretty awesome. And you can do, like, we're going to do gems in water and create new health, and you scry in water. Like, there's so many different things and aspects that you use for water. So I'm looking forward to enrolling that too. All right, my loves. Well, thank you so much for joining me and allowing me to be here in my full glory of being sick. I'm telling you, I can still connect in, I can still channel, but sometimes it just comes on all of a sudden and I can't hold it back. So thank you for allowing me to just postpone this morning to this afternoon so I could regroup and have a self-love healing nap for myself before I got on, because it's exhausting when you're getting sick all the time, so that I could get on and be present for you guys. So thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day and that you have a few takeaways from opening up your heart chakra and expanding it and really stepping into who you are. And remember, let be and let God. 50-50. That's the rule, okay? Try to find balance in your day. Thank you, Joanna. Thank you, Jamie. I'll see you guys later, okay? Bye.